Good afternoon. How are we doing today? We having fun yet? A little bit of fun over here. Gentleman on the phone's not having fun yet. We'll get around it though. Well, thank you for being here today. I'm excited that there's some people in the room who are interested in content. I've been interested in content for a long time. This is me in 1984. Younger, thinner me, of course. You recognize me? A little bit. This is me on the college paper. And this is basically when I first started to realize that I might be able to make a living as a content producer. Of course, back then, we didn't call it content. We called it writing or news. For our purposes today, I think we'll be safe to also call it information. I wanted to say that part of our talk today is about how to get paid as a content producer. But I also, it's important to me to also pay content producers because I am an editor and an entrepreneur. So I want to make sure that the people who contribute to my site also get paid. I'm actually interested in seeing people who I don't even know who create content also find an audience that will support them at some level. We all need goals in life, and mine are very clearly laid out before me. Write because I love it and get paid to write so I can do what I love. Most of us in the room have probably heard the phrase, information wants to be free. How many of you believe information wants to be free? No one believes that information wants to be free? Okay. I'm a little surprised by that, since we're all consumers of free content. It's something that's caught on over the years. But information is inanimate. It doesn't want to be free any more than it wants to take a stroll in the park or have sushi for dinner tonight. So how did we get here? How did we get to this place where in our culture we think that information wants to be free? Before we can discuss the future of paid, we need to explore the past and mine the past for answers to these important questions. And what better place to revisit than California in the 1960s? This is Stuart Brand in the 1960s. Brand is a smart guy. He is a graduate of Phillips Exeter Academy and Stanford University. He founded the Whole Earth Catalog and also the WELL, which stands for Whole Earth Electronic Link. The WELL is one of the oldest online communities in existence today in continuous operation. Stuart Brand also hung out with some of my heroes back in the day, Ken Kesey, Merry Pranksters, and Grateful Dead. Not too many people have organizer of the Trips Festival on their CV, but Stuart Brand does. The personal computer revolution has rightly been traced to members of the counterculture. And even today we see signs of that early idealism, but it's an idealism that's been tempered and in some cases improved by time. This is Stuart Brand in 1984 when he first uttered his now famous words, "Information wants to be free." He said those words to Steve Wozniak of Apple computer fame at the first ever hackers conference in rural Marin County, California. So let's give Stuart Brand his due, and let's pay close attention to what he actually said 27 years ago. This is what he actually said. On the one hand, information wants to be expensive because it is so valuable. The right information in the right place just changes your life. On the other hand, information wants to be free because the cost of getting it out is getting lower and lower all the time. So you have these two fighting against each other. It's interesting to me how only the free part caught on and became a meme. Because for writers, editors, videographers, and every content producer in the world, it's the first part that's important. On the one hand, information wants to be expensive because it's so valuable. Chris Anderson, the editor of Wired magazine, also the author of Free, The Future of a Radical Price, says that Brand's declaration is probably the most misunderstood sentence of the internet economy. Anderson also says there are really two markets, free and everything else. And the difference between the two is profound. A little slow on my slide. There's Mr. Chris Anderson right there. We all want things for free. Free is awesome. At the same time, free can mean proceed with caution. Because if it's free, there must be something wrong with it. Nobody gets anything for free. We get what we pay for. But online, many pixelated and digitized items do indeed come for free. Entire record collections come for free. Did you know that 90% of all downloaded music is pirated? That's a lot of money that's not changing hands. Even so, the recording industry continues to make $4 billion every year. So what does that say? It says that free and paid coexist. Perhaps not happily, but they coexist. Let me give you an example, a pre-digital example in the music industry of free and paid coexisting. This is an image from a Grateful Dead concert. Grateful Dead allowed their fans to take their live shows and then freely trade them. What did that do? That grew their audience, also bought them a whole lot of goodwill. Generosity may not be the first thing you think of when you hear the words Grateful Dead. But the band, by correctly identifying the opportunity in free, ended up making a whole lot of money. We've all heard how newspapers are falling apart. But the fact is, news organizations are not going to disappear altogether. Book publishers are not going to disappear. Book retailers are not going to disappear. Instead, they will all mutate to survive. That's what survival is, the ability to adapt. One of the things that content companies are busy adapting to is the fact that ad-sponsored content is not paying bills, not alone. Thankfully, newspaper execs are finally coming to their senses and asking their readers to pay, just like readers always have. In my opinion, many newspaper execs misinterpreted Stuart Brand's information wants to be free sentiment 15 years ago when they first started putting up their online editions. and they've been suffering ever since. Let's untangle the meaning in information wants to be free just a bit more. In 1990, free software advocate Richard Stallman said, "I believe that generally all useful information should be free." By free, I'm not referring to price, but rather to the freedom to copy the information and to adapt it to one's uses. When information is generally useful, redistributing it makes humanity wealthier, no matter who is distributing and no matter who is receiving. Free isn't about price after all. It's about an iterative process that hackers need to make better software. Free doesn't mean zero cost. It means able to alter to one's own uses. I think most newspaper execs can live with the mashup, aka the ability to adapt content to one's own uses. And increasingly, they're demystifying their own paid content riddles. The Boston Globe last month introduced a unique paid model by splitting their online sites into Boston.com and BostonGlobe.com. Boston.com is the free offering. BostonGlobe.com is the paid offering. BostonGlobe.com has everything that the newspaper has. So what they're doing is they're giving their consumers an option, and the consumer can pick the one that best fits their needs, free or paid. I jumped ahead for a second. I just wanted to say that I think eventually most city newspapers are going to go to some form of a paid revenue model for their online properties. There are upstarts in this space, but Patch being one of them. But I really don't believe that Patch or any other competitor can really match what the paper record does in a city. So I think there's a future for newspapers in paid, especially if they focus on making their offering affordable. Startups unburdened by the legacy found in newspapers, the recording industry, book publishing, Hollywood, they've been able to move from 0 to 100 a whole lot faster. There are all kinds of content businesses that are finding a way, excuse me, that are finding a way by combining free and paid. People gather around free, oftentimes in significant numbers. The task is to convert a portion of the audience into paid customers. So if you have 1,000 regular readers, ask yourself, what can you sell to 100 of those readers? What can you sell to 10 of those readers? Even a small percentage of converting your readers into customers, if you have a large audience, that can be a significant amount of revenue. So I want to run through some examples of content providers that have managed to successfully launch paid offerings. What you see here is GigaOM Pro. GigaOM Pro is the paid offering at GigaOM, and it costs $199 a year for quote-unquote premier market research in industries like green IT and mobile. So far, over 10,000 people have signed up for this. 10,000 people at $199 a year is just shy of $2 million a year just for this one offering from GigaOM. significant amount of revenue. Ad Age and many other media companies package up their market intelligence and sell it as white papers, special reports and the like, often for hundreds of dollars. This one's $249. Stuart Brand said, on the one hand, information wants to be expensive because it is so valuable, which explains why content providers who solve problems for people can charge for their content one way or another. The Economist conducts a series of events each year. Their readers pay a significant amount of money, $1,795 in this case, that I've circled here, to attend a series of talks similar to the series of talks that are happening here today. Media companies are also providing services today. Men's Health personal trainer is at once premium paid content and media as a service for $19.95 a month. Media companies are also opening up online stores in partnership with more seasoned retailers. Esquire and JCPenney are about to launch this site, Plaid, which will sell garments from the designer brands that advertise in Esquire. Laughing Squid is a popular blog, and what Laughing Squid is doing is they're providing a service that's related to their content. In this case, it's web hosting for $6, $8, $12, or $16 a year. Some content providers, excuse me, I think I'm missing a slide here. Yeah, I've got them backwards, I'm sorry. This is from Blair Enns. I'm not sure if you've heard of Blair Enns. He's a consultant to small ad agencies from British Columbia, and he helps small agencies win without pitching. He wrote a book about it, but he also offers a series of podcasts once a month where there's live Q&A, and he offers his archive for $395 a year. Hack5. Hack5 is an internet TV show, if you will. It's probably the wrong phrase to use. But they happen to be very successful in the merchandising realm. They actually sell $5,000 worth of t-shirts, stickers, and the like every month from their website because they have so many fans for their video content. They're not buying the video, they're buying the t-shirts, they still make $5,000 a month. The Denver Egotist is another ad blog similar to mine, and they're making it work by using classified advertising. And here you can see they do have a free offering even within their classified ads. And then they have the paid offering. So one thing to think about here is that display ads, as you probably realize, are only clicked by 1 or 2 people in 1,000 viewers. But that's not true in classified advertising, especially when someone who's seeking work sees a classified ad from a site that they trust. So their job board is working for them. Finally, I want to make note here of Gwen Bell, a writer out of Colorado. She has a paid email subscription. So it's an email newsletter. We all get lots of email newsletters. There's a growing trend in paid email newsletters. Hers is $25 a month, which is sort of significant. I think I have a paid email newsletter too that I started last spring, mostly as an experiment I priced my newsletter. It's called Hungry for Gumbo, and you can find it at hungryforgumbo.com, but it's only $1. Who's right, Gwen Bell or me? We're trying to figure this out. But before we get to that, let me just show you this endorsement for Gwen Bell's email newsletter from Sarah J. Gray on Twitter. I love Gwen Bell's The Bell. Paying for things that have profound meaning and depth feels good. Free is not always a gift. This is a pretty profound statement here. So I wanted to bring it to our attention today. And then back to this price thing between her $25 and my $1 a month. Chris Anderson, the editor of Wired, says, if you charge a price, any price, we are forced to ask ourselves if we really want to open our wallets. But if the price is zero, that flag never comes up. He calls this the penny gap, and it's actually a very strong argument against micropayments. So that would lead me to raise my price, which I haven't done yet, but I'm planning to. So now I just would like to share a few of my own struggles on the path to paid. I started publishing online in 1999 after learning to code basic HTML. It was an exciting time, no more sending out stories and poems and essays to small press publishers who rarely responded in kind. I had, in 1999, what we all have today, a platform to share and to be heard. And as I moved from hard coding sites to the power of push-button publishing made possible by movable type and WordPress, the DIY empowerment thing, it just kept getting bigger and bigger. But I had to ask myself, could I make any money at it? That's pretty much the eternal question, isn't it? I think every serious artist and writer comes face to face with this many times in their career. Can I make any money at it? And its twin, can I make a living at it? I'm happy to say that my answer is yes, I do make money at it and I make a living at it. I have been a copywriter since 1995, and the ad business is a profession that pays pretty well if you can stay employed. My own ride through the business has been somewhat topsy-turvy, but I clearly love the business enough to create a site that every day pokes the business, prods the business, tries to move the business forward, and tries to make the business a better place to be. For our efforts on AdPulp, we receive a trickle of income. I've circled some of the areas where we make money. We have sponsors. Thank you, sponsors. We have a job board. It's a new feature. We have a bookstore, so Amazon gives us a little bit of income. We also run advertorials from time to time. We have text links that companies buy. We have tried fundraising campaigns. We have Kindle subscriptions, which I'm happy to say are growing through really no effort of our own. People are just finding AdPulp on the Kindle and subscribing. Again, we're at $1. We're actually at 99 cents a month. And so back to Chris Anderson's warning against micro payments, that may have to be rethought. But it seems that many blogs are offering that similar price. That's what led us to we wanted to be priced competitively with other blogs, and that's where we came up with that figure. I'm kind of excited by the Amazon Kindle Fire, because I do think that a lot of people are going to buy the Kindle Fire, the new Kindle that's coming out, and so I do expect the Kindle revenue to continue to grow. and we're probably going to try to feature that here somewhere where you easily see it and say, oh yes, I want Ad Pulp on the Kindle because I can then read it when I'm not online. All these trickles of income do lead into a steady stream of income that my partner in the site, Sean Hartley, and I split. But let me say that another thing that's very important is that Ad Pulp opens doors. Every day that we work on this site, we earn a bit more social capital, or what Cory Doctorow calls woofie. Because we provide the free content that people find valuable, people pay us back by giving us their attention. So when I write someone an email, when I call someone, the chances are they're going to reply, so they're paying us back with their attention. So Ad Pulp's real value isn't actually in the income that we create on the site. The real value is twofold. One is in the media brand that we're building that someday possibly could be swallowed up by a bigger media fish. We'll see. The other thing that we're doing is we're creating a content practice. That's what Bonehook is. Bonehook is my marketing services company. Ad Pulp is the media company. They're two sides of one coin, because today media is a marketing service. Ad Pulp is also proof of concept for any of my clients at Bonehook who want to develop content and reach their customers and truly connect with their audience. Which brings me to two words that I'm sure that you've been hearing a lot lately: content marketing. People avoid ads, but they seek out and share content that they find useful or entertaining. Which would you rather interact with? An ad or something that you find entertaining or valuable? Smart brands are today busy figuring out how to deliver on Stewart Brand's right information in the right place equation. They may not change their customers' minds with this information, their lives, which is what Stewart Brand said, but they hope to change their minds. Now we're just going to run through a few examples. There are so many examples. I just wanted to show a few examples today of brands that are getting content marketing right. This is Format Perspective. What it is, it's a documentary film about skateboarding and skateboard photographers, and it's brought to life by Carhartt because skaters wear Carhartt, so the film is a way to say thank you. Whole Foods Market created not just a film, but a film festival that travels around to several cities. It's called Do Something Real, and it helps the company deliver on their activist positioning. Palladium Boots sells boots, but one look at their website and you can see that what they're actually selling is a lifestyle, and they're using content to deliver that in spades. By the way, we sell boots. Red Bull. Red Bull may be the king of packaged goods companies utilizing content to advance their mission. This is the Red Bulletin, which is a newsstand magazine that Red Bull puts out. And again, like Palladium Boots, it's not about the product, it's about the lifestyle. They're delivering the Red Bull lifestyle big time in the Red Bulletin. There are all kinds of brands out there today, IBM, Denny's, the list is very long, that are working with a much larger palette than the 30 or 60 second spot They're working with episodic content that people can snack on in 3 to 5 minute bits, and in some cases, as we just looked at with the documentary films, much, much longer format, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. One of the reasons that content marketing is such a large opportunity is revealed right here in this very simple equation, EC equals MC, or every company is a media company. Technology reporter Tom Feremsky captured this truism a couple years ago. He argued, quote, "It doesn't matter if it makes network gear or diapers, every company needs to publish to its various communities, its customers, and its neighbors." I think it's worth noting here that out-of-work journalists can help brands tell their stories in their own media channels. Take Red Bulletin, which we just looked at, the same journalist who writes for Sports Illustrated, ESPN.com, they can also write for Red Bull. And in many cases, these reporters don't even have to cross over to the dark side where we all work. The reason they don't is because many media companies are starting to deliver, they're starting to create marketing services arms within the media company. Meredith is the most well-known of such companies. Time recently has started that type of a division. So in Meredith's case, they've been at this for a long time. And I do think that Meredith has a lot of credibility when they go to a brand. Let's say it's a Kraft Foods brand. I'm just making that up, but they go to Kraft Foods in Chicago and they say, "Guess what? We know your customer better than your ad agency knows your customer." I think they have a legitimate argument there, since they've been serving that customer for so long with Better Homes and Gardens and all their other titles. So why not also create marketing for that same audience? So Meredith is out there busy stealing business away from ad agencies. The other thing that's happening right now, as marketers are embracing media, they're transforming as they learn what it means to be a media company. To me, this is one of the most exciting aspects of what's going on today. Like newspapers, marketers are busy courting a daily audience, courting a daily dialogue with prospects and their customers, and that daily dialogue is the basis for the relationship between the brand and the customer. In other words, content marketing is also relationship marketing. And in relationship marketing, what matters? Honesty, trust, transparency. Those are the things that are front and center right now. And that's a big part of why it's an exciting time to work in media or marketing. So far, I haven't said much about display advertising, but I'd like to just wrap up with a few notes about display advertising and some positive developments there. Things like real-time buying, people call it RTB, creative customizations of campaigns on the fly. So today, the agency, the brand doesn't just make one display ad, doesn't just make a banner ad and call it a day. They receive data, they analyze the data, and then they turn around and create literally hundreds of variants of a display ad. So they become much more relevant. There's, of course, a privacy issue here, but I do think that many consumers are willing to trade a bit of privacy for greater relevancy. think I would be remiss if I failed to mention just how well some content entrepreneurs are doing with paid content. This is Chuck wearing a wig. Chuck is Heather Armstrong's dog. Heather Armstrong is also known as Deuce, D-O-O-C-E. Deuce is a mommy blogger from Salt Lake City. Very good writer, very funny, and she has a huge audience. And reportedly, her site brings in close to $500,000 a year in revenue, mostly from display advertising. So there are people who are making display advertising work at the very top end when they have an absolutely massive audience. Deuce delivers consistent excellence. She's a photographer, so that's just part of what she delivers are these funny photos of her dog. But the key idea with Deuce or people like her is that they have an ear for what their readers want. They have the passion, the talent, and the drive to deliver it on a daily basis. So my advice for the content producers in the room is to not be afraid to charge for your expertise. If your content is useful or it's entertaining, there is a market for it. My advice for the content marketers in the room is develop an editorial calendar and consider hiring some journalists to help execute it. Let's put some resources against that so you can make that work for you. And then my request to the content customers in the room, which of course is all of us, is to seek out premium content and pay for it. Thank you. I'll take any questions that you might have. Yes.
I'm one of the founders of First Media. We one of the first people to sell display advertising for independent publishers.
Okay.
But one of the things, I'm no longer at First, but one of the trends that we started seeing is, and maybe you touched on this, I got here from display.
Okay.
Other sources of revenue. One is why publishers are starting to sell their data. So if you visit Car and Driver sells your cookie to somebody else.
Okay.
And they get paid every time that person sees an ad somewhere else in the world. That's one source of revenue. I'm going to ask you what you think of these things.
Okay.
And the second is paid reviews. Having a publisher, a content producer, get paid to write reviews is another source of revenue that we've seen. What do you think of those two?
Well, the latter, I think, as long as it's clearly marked as an advertorial or whatever it is, the transparency button, as long as you push that, I think you're fine with that. I believe that brand sponsored content can be just as good as any other form of content from traditional media companies. It's about what are you putting into it? What kind of resources do you have? And have you done a great job? If it's just an ad masquerading as content, people will sniff that out in a second and run away, just like they run away from ads. Your other comment about selling data seems to me very much like selling a mailing list. It's just the modern form of that. That does upset people at times because they wonder, well, where did this come from? Oh, I'm a member of Sierra Club, and now I'm getting pummeled by every environmental group in America. So that's annoying. At the same time, I think one of the key points that I did touch on today is you've got to have multiple streams of revenue. No one stream, for most people, for most companies, is going to work. So in that case, it would be something that a media company would have to look at. How much revenue can we make? Is it worth upsetting some people? And that's a judgment call. It's not a good idea to upset people, but you need to make money to stay alive. So It's a balance. You had a question here in the front?
I know, I guess. This content, paid content topic is super interesting to me because as a marketer and having worked for a publishing company now, going through the transformation of digital and how do you go from print to digital, what do you do with those journalists and writers that are so have such expertise in putting together content and how you pay the money and how do you make money out of that. And I think the example that you gave earlier with the Red Bull, can't measure effectiveness of those necessarily very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't seem like even on this session, I was hoping that maybe you had some sort of rule of thumb on how you should charge content.
Mm-hmm.
Really don't, but and I don't think anybody does. And we know if that's something that have you heard anything from anybody as far as how they think about charging content and obviously an overhead that you covered.
Do you mean how much to charge?
Yeah, whether there's some content, like whether you write an article or whether you write a video or whether.
And you said that you're a marketer, so I try to divide the talk between thinking that in the audience we would have content marketers like yourself and also content producers. So I try to divide it because a content marketer wouldn't charge for content because it's a brand building activity.
That's where I was going. I guess. Yeah. So you see content that's given out there. You measure based on what you think the brand is.
If it's brand sponsored, I mean, there's no reason technically that a brand couldn't charge, but I can't imagine what it would be that would lead people to buy. If it was something just absolutely incredible, I suppose that you could. But when you see that it's from Red Bull, I mean, they do charge for the magazine, I guess, on the newsstand. So there's one example. But let's say it was a series of videos online or something like that from Red Bull. The consumer would see, well, it's from Red Bull, so why are they asking me to buy this? It's brand sponsored. It's not an ad, but it's been developed to help me to like the brand. I think that consumers realize what's the equation there, so they wouldn't expect to pay when it's an obvious marketing effort. I guess Red Bull's magazine is an exception to this because it's not so obvious that it's a marketing effort because the magazine itself is something that the people want to read. So that's a really kind of a weird example. But I think most brands are probably going to see content marketing as a brand building exercise and not look for the paid piece of it. All those other examples that I gave earlier, where we weren't talking about content marketing, we're talking about people with blogs and podcasts. We're all struggling to figure out how to convert a portion of our audience to paid, which is very important. Otherwise, you can't continue to do it.
Is marketing. You are doing it doesn't go out. You're marketing.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to, so again, we're on the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're charging now $1 for that's marketing. You are putting together content that you're producing, you want to get people. And the way you're writing it, it's a marketing. You're selling your blog.
You're right.
I mean, depending on how the definition, I think it's pretty the same.
You're right. And I could have some very purist view and say, Ad Pulp is nothing more than a brand building activity for me. And I don't care about making any money. I don't have that purist view because I want to make the money and build my brand. So it's just a mixed approach there. I don't know if I answered your question. Okay. Are there other questions? Any other questions? Okay. Well, let me say one thing at the end here. The interesting thing to me is that the big money is in the platform. There is money in content, right? But the platform, what do I mean by that? Facebook, YouTube. The platform people are becoming filthy rich, while the content providers are, some of the best ones are doing okay, and some are doing really well, like Deuce. But it's just interesting to me to note that the platform for all these content producers, well, that's a whole other story. But yet it is part of the content business. Thank you very much.